Hello everyone, it is I, the Obsessive Gamer, and welcome to a channel update. We haven't done one since last year. That's the longest since last year. But this channel update is to be looking over what we've done in 2021, the future in 2022, and we'll be also answering some of your questions that you sent in as well. So first off, 2021 was a hell of a year. I mean, we started off around under 4,000, but then we jacked up to right near 19,000, which I'm kind of hoping to hit that by next week. I was personally hoping to hit 20K. It was kind of a stretch long goal from mine once I hit 10,000, but I made it pretty damn close. I'm almost like 1,000 or two, I think, under, which last year my goal was 5,000, but I made it to just under 4,000. So it's not too different in terms of being wrong, but we're pretty damn far. We're nearly at the 20K mark, so thank you everyone so much for all of your assistance, your views, your comments, your support, because we as a community made this channel grow. Now, when it comes to what's coming up next year, we're going to be looking through a continuation of the cut content series. Of course, that's never gonna go away. I don't plan for it to go away. So of course, we have a few ongoing series. Right now, we have Majora's Mask cut content, which is going to be continuing into 2022. The new Pokemon Gold and Silver cut content, which I kept my word, it happened. Just pretty near the end of the year rather than beginning of the year as I was originally stating. And we got to go through finishing up Metroid Prime's cut content series, which we made it pretty far. We're on the third game. I'm also thinking of doing Hunters, but I want to see how much content there is first for it, and if it's worth doing that before 3 or not. Otherwise, there's other things we're also going to be expanding to as well in 2022. First off, we have a new video coming out actually tomorrow called The History of the Nintendo PlayStation. This is a history video, not a cut content video. Now, so to some of you, you're like, what's the difference? Because they're both really history based. But the difference between cut content and history in this case being the fact that they're both serious stories, they're both well documented, well edited shows. The difference here is that it's historical, going from a chronological perspective rather than defines. And we have done stuff like that before in a sense. With the Metroid Prime videos, they're a combination of cut content and history. Same with the Zelda video, which was also that. And if we do want to talk about a pure history video, that would probably have to be the Mario 128 video that we did, in this case talking about its history as Super Mario 64 2 to when it became 128 and then Galaxy. If you want to go by that perspective, that's a very, by the way, too long didn't read moment there. It's much more complicated than that. I recommend you check that out. But it's going to be flowing a lot like those. And we have that series coming out starting tomorrow. Now, in terms of how often it will come out, that really depends, because what we do on the Obsessive Gamer Show is try to go through some experimentation sometimes. Sometimes I'll look at a new series and see if it will do well, such as, say, the Metroid Prime series. I was very curious and I wanted to do that, and I was really in the mood of doing that. Actually, I was really burnt out on everything else, and that succeeded very well. I was surprised, actually. But then there was Sonic the Hedgehog, which, to my surprise, that did terribly. That's literally our worst video of the year. So congratulations, Sonic. You did a good job as being another game from, well, I would say a Sonic team, but this is made by me, but yes. Anyways, yeah, basically it's experimentation. So we'll see how history videos do. If they do well enough, if you guys do want more of them, like them, we'll keep making more. It will probably be done separately, of course, from the cut content series, so both would be done simultaneously, therefore. As well, now the thing I want to also talk about is going on to doing some older series here. So if you're a really, really, really older fan of my show, and I mean going before cut content, going all the way back to maybe even 2014 when I was pretty much nothing on this channel. For some of you who don't know, I actually didn't hit the 400 mark even until July of 2020. Yeah, July 2020. I know that took a while for you to remember. But yeah, and then I just rapidly rose. and until 2021 we exploded with going through a whole Zelda Ocarina of Time cut content series that really made it grow along with other things, which was really surprising how quickly I grew there. And I thank you so much for that, by the way. So yeah, basically, we are going to be going through this into 2022, going through some experimentation with the new history series, more cut content, and as I was saying, we have a return back to an older series some of you older fans might know of, known as the main series. So what is the main series and why the hell do I call it that? Well, first off, don't worry, this is not replacing anything. This will be, again, another series to go along with these two series I'm also making. So basically, as some of you might know who used to watch my show from way back then, if any of you still are, by the way, from back then, it was actually an informative comedy that I did. And don't let that scare you, because none of the comedy will affect the other two, by the way, because I've heard concerns, and don't worry about it. If I did if I was to do such a show, it'd be completely separate from the other two. Basically, what I would do is tackle a topic like gaming. It could be an entire game, it could be an issue within gaming, maybe just criticizing a whole gaming company, and so on and so forth about anything gaming related, and make it both informative and comedic, to the point where I'm hoping it would be an enjoyable experience to you guys. Again, this would be another experimentation, and I have done some things before. I mean, you guys are free to check those out there. And the reason I call it the main series is because it used to be the main series of this channel. That's what I used to do a lot. And I want to return to that old skit-like comedy show that's informative at the same time. But I decided to go this path here with cut content, now the history video, these series shows that did very well. And I love doing these too, but I want to try this as well alongside these. Again, this would not hamper any of those two series as well. So therefore, you still have your serious stuff, and there would be this little comedy series. If it does well, it would stay, by the way. So if it does horrible, well, I'm not doing it. Last time I did this was actually right after the Pokemon Cut Content series. I did one experimentation of it. It was a bad topic. It was like the top 10 best things about Pokemon Sword and Shield. My numbers were not great. I was still under 400, so it didn't do well, and it wasn't very good because the topic was bad and my jokes were pretty dry in that video. It was probably my worst main series video, actually, because I've done much better work than the other ones. So if I do one, I'm gonna make it to the best of my abilities, basically. No half-assing it, because I think I somewhat half-assed it with that one. I will not lie. Now, these are the main three shows that I'm going to be looking at in 2022 as such. Cut content obviously being the ones that's staying, not going anywhere. The other two are experimentation, so it's up to you guys. If you guys like it, watch it, I'll make more. So, what does this mean? What are we looking at next? Well, now that we're near the 19K mark, our goal is obviously to finish that 20K mark first off, which I'm expecting to finish in January. And therefore, we would have to make our next big goal. Obviously, the next one I could say is 30K, but at this point, would I do 30K increments? I guess I could. It just depends how rapidly I keep growing. And it really, again, depends on how these new shows do as well. So, right now, if I was to do it just based on what I'm currently doing, my estimate would be 30K by summer, and maybe 40 by winter of 2022. But if things explode, maybe we can even hit the 50K mark, because that'd be amazing. We'd be playing big. So then that's basically what we're aiming for in 2022. We'll see if we can get there. But I'm doing this because I love the show. I'm making products because I like them best. As the YouTuber Mudahar said, make something that you're proud of. And that's what I basically do. Make it so that I like the product. I'm happy with it. So even if it doesn't do well, I'm happy with it. Like the Sonic video, it didn't do well, but I'm happy with it. I think it's a really impressive piece of media that I made. And even though not many watch it, I like it. And that's what really mattered there. And yes, I know it's a numbers game on YouTube in many ways to keep growing and such. And to be honest, the fact that I keep growing is what really motivates me to keep making more and more. If I stagnate and stop growing, well, I really would be demotivated, let's just say. So let's keep trying to grow. because that really motivates the channel to grow continuously and get videos out on a rapid basis. So then, now where I think you're going to be looking into more of 2022's games as well. So other series that I want to tackle are everything from Star Fox 64. I want to try to get that. I wanted to do that earlier in the year, but I wanted to investigate that more, and it was very history based the way I was going to do originally, but I was like, I don't want to mix history versus cut content, but I guess I did it in the end. So we'll be planning to tackle that soon. I'm also trying to think if I should maybe start hitting beyond a bit more Nintendo, because I've been staying very safe with just hitting Nintendo games because, well, it's a Nintendo fan base. And I don't want to go too far off edge and go like with Halo, obviously. I want to still stick pretty close with stuff like maybe Final Fantasy, which some of you guys might be familiar with, because that's also Nintendo systems, but also on PlayStation as well. And maybe some other series as well, if you guys like stuff that go beyond Nintendo, like Metal Gear Solid, etc. There's a lot of things I'd like to look into, both cut content, history-wise, and etc. But we'll see how that goes. I mean, I've experimented on a few things throughout 2021, like, not gonna say the Sonic video, but there was that other time when I tried to do that live reaction to E3, which did not go well. You guys did not watch that or like that video. Well, okay, you guys didn't hate that video, but you guys didn't watch it. And I understand, who the hell cares about a reaction video to a documentary channel like this? I mean, I guess you guys did watch my playthroughs I did of some of the Ocarina of Time beta and that Pokemon Gold beta demo as well. So speaking of that, let's get to that. I know some of you are wondering why the hell I haven't continued and finished the Pokemon Gold 97 beta demo playthrough that I've been doing for up till summer. So there's two reasons to that. Number one, I just really don't have the time to do it. Cut content, believe it or not, takes up a lot of time to do. The research, the writing, the voicing, and yes, the voicing actually really takes time, and especially the editing, and therefore doesn't leave me much time. But the reason and when I did the Pokemon one there too for the playthroughs, I was getting pretty burnt out because I had literally no time left for me after doing all that plus that. So, and I need a little bit of me time always just so I can recuperate and do maximum efficiency on any video. So therefore, that series is gonna stay idle for a little bit. I'll get to what I'm planning to do with it in a moment. But here's the second reason. It actually hurt the algorithm. So some of you might not understand, but the YouTube algorithm is a bitch. And I mean that in a very harsh way, because falter a bit, do something slightly off, or maybe YouTube just isn't happy with you and just says, screw you, your channel is not going to do well that week, and your views just start dropping. And that's what happened. When I started that series, that was going okay first, and we were really doing well in April. Then we started to really tank into May, and I mean really tank, and it stayed tanked for a while. And then once I stopped doing that series, the views started to shoot up again. And this was around, I think, the time when I started the Metroid Prime series too, which was a risky move when you think about it, when I started a more niche series when my algorithm was low, but hey, we went up. So therefore, we are not doing that at the moment. What I want to do, however, is eventually get back to it, but we would have to enter it and do it a different way. What I would do in this case is do it through Twitch. So I have a Twitch page, I don't use it. It has some old recordings of games I've played. It's not worth really checking out, I would say. It's there if you want to look at some old things, maybe say subscribe in case one day I get to it. But when I one day make up time, I want to get to this and do that. And if I really have time, or rather if I can hire someone, if I have some money to do that, to actually cut down the video into a bite-size, a super cut of it so that it's good and viewable on YouTube on its own. A well-edited piece, in other words, that should not hurt the algorithm at that point. Because I know some of you have requested that and don't want to watch like 3 hours of me playing the damn game. So yeah, but yeah, I will first need to clear up my schedule a bit more. So I'll keep you guys updated basically on that. I might try to get the Pokemon one finished off at least once in a while when I have a little bit of time. I might just do it and be done there. It would just not be very consistent. It'd just be once in a while I'd do that. So I guess that answers the 2022 questions. It's time for the questions from you guys. It's time to answer them as honest as I could. So I got actually a decent amount of questions. Not too many, but not too little either. And I'm gonna read these off. And thank you for guys, by the way, for you guys sending it through email. Because last year a lot of you guys did not do that. So let's start it off. So his question is, will you eventually do lost content videos on fighting games? As those are my favorite genre of games. So that's a good question. I would like to, yeah. I mean, technically I already have Smash Brothers. I know that's not really to some of you considered a fighting game, but if you really want to consider, I've done it to an extent. But yeah, I would like to. I mean, there's definitely stuff that can be looked at. Unfortunately, I haven't really looked too much into fighting game cut content myself in the past. I mean, the only really big ones I know of personally in terms of cut content is like some of the stuff that was left over in the Street Fighter games, the newer ones where there was some DLC that was just left over in there, unable to get it because A, Capcom left it on disc and wanted you to buy it, or B, the fact that you really could not get it ever, I think. I have not really looked into it too much to be able to tell you more than that. I know there was one from Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3 where you were able to play as Bulma actually, which that one's actually need to cover, but I don't know how much I want to cover Dragon Ball Z after the recent event with YouTube and a famous Dragon Ball YouTuber actually who got hit by Toy very, very hard. I'm afraid of getting hit by the YouTube ninjas here, and especially the Toy ones at that. Dear God. So staying away from Dragon Ball Z is something I want to do for the most part, but I might try a video. If I don't get hit, we're good. So, next question. You said you were going to make big changes to your channel. That worries me since the last beta YouTuber that I adored changed to a horrible skit/comedy/cringe Scott the Woz ripoff that I quickly unsubbed from. I can no longer stand this beta YouTuber's content. What I am trying to say is never forget why people enjoy your content. You have your own thing going, and it's not a bad thing to keep on going. There is never a need to be a cheap imitation of someone else. Okay, first off, I think I know who you're talking about. I'm just gonna say it. You're probably talking about Beta 64, right? Because Beta 64, as far as I'm aware, is the only beta YouTuber who actually tried to go heavy on mixing comedy with his serious stuff. Which is not a good formula. By the way, if you're watching this Beta 64, I fully respect your channel, I love your content, and I am not in any ways trying to say you're bad or terrible or anything like that. So basically, what he did wrong was try to obviously mix comedy with a serious thing. You just don't do that. It does not work. When people are watching something serious, a documentary, they're not thinking about comedy. They don't want comedy in there. It just makes the message not come out well. Might just drag it on, might make it cheesy. And that's something people don't like so much. What I believe he should have done is basically take that comedy skip stuff and make a separate series alongside it. Kind of like what I'm basically planning to do with that series that I said alongside the cut content. Basically, cut content stays the exact same while the comedy stuff is a separate show altogether that goes alongside it, which I'll cancel if no one likes it, of course. Meanwhile, Beta 64 tried to make it one big series, which doesn't work. If he made it two separate series, that'd work. He technically has already a second series too, which was just interviews. He could have made that a third series, which was just a more comedy-based show. But yet, he mixed it in, and he did it at the worst possible time and game too. On Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, when it just came out, everyone was looking forward to seeing its beta content. And that really hurt him. That made a lot of people lose faith in him. His material has, I noticed, returned back more or less to form. There's a little bit of comedy here and there, which I think is okay. Just little bits of stuff that don't really make people lose the message is fine. And therefore, I think he's doing okay now personally. Now, I haven't really noticed the crazy amount of comedy that was in there like it was with Smash Brothers video. But again, you might be thinking of someone else actually, because the only beta YouTuber I know of who went the comedy route is Beta 64. But as for me, don't worry, cut content, history, the serious stuff will always stay serious. I don't plan to mix any comedy into them. There's a separate comedy series I'm planning to do there, and that will not have any impact on the content quality and editing of the cut content and history series. So rest assured on that. Next question. If you do decide to do other Nintendo games, can you do a beta exploration for Resident Evil 1.5? Well, as I stated, I do want to explore beyond Nintendo, and it's going to be a bit of an experiment here and there. And as I said, I'm going to try to go not too far beyond Nintendo, so it'd probably be more games that have it on Nintendo before I maybe try to tackle beyond that. So Resident Evil in general wouldn't be a bad thing to tackle. Resident Evil 1.5 would be actually pretty fun to tackle. Probably would be a lot easier to do than Metroid Prime 1.5, because that was a crazy amount of animations I did there for it. So yeah, we'll see if some of my third-party experimentation works well. Yeah, I'll expand to that too, and we'll try there. Well, experiment game by game and see where we go from there. It all depends on you guys, the viewers. Next question. What are some of your improvements you have prioritized in your most recent videos? Along the same line, what's the most useful critique you've gotten from your polls? All right, so good question, and yes, these are both rather connected questions too. So I think I think it's really small tidbits of stuff that I've had to improve upon the video. Like for example, people have told me I should not go too off topic on some things, and I've done just that. For example, I should, for example, focus more on exploring a certain territory, and I've done more of that. And recently I got one where they said the opening is a little too long, and I'm planning to condense that a bit more, because sometimes they go over a minute, and I think that is actually indeed too long. So, and I think that's probably one of my most useful comments, because the YouTube algorithm really does focus a lot on the first 10 seconds and how many people stay around. So if you don't really get into it right away, it kind of hurts you. So I do want to, for example, shorten down the intro a bit. Still a decent intro I'm planning to do, just a bit more condensed. But yeah, I mean, I've gotten a lot of feedback on stuff people have not liked in the video, and I've worked on it prior. Maybe some of my information might have been a little off, and maybe I should have looked at some things. And that was more in the early days especially, where, for example, in some of my older Pokemon videos for Gen 1, I wasn't really looking too much at the Helix Chamber leaks, which I, as such, did not know there were some of those. So looking at what some people said and that those existed, I looked further and found them, and therefore I decided to incorporate those in a bigger video later on when I did it just after I finished the Pokemon Red and Blue cut content videos. And that's the thing, and it basically expanded me to look much deeper into trying to get as much information and as accurate as I can for these videos. And yeah, there might have been a mistake or two here or there too, which I think for the future, what I want to do in 2022 is any corrections will now be listed in the pinned comments. So I would say, as there's mistakes found, hopefully none, I'll just check back in the pinned comments, and you'll just find the corrections right there. And I'll even tag exactly what part of the videos those ones were in. I was wondering if you'd like to add some camera blocks to the corner of your videos, like Markiplier does, that sort of crap. I do like to see how people actually experience the game. So, I mean, I guess you're talking about my playthroughs, because yeah, I mean, those ones did not have it in there, but I'd like to have those, personally. And the reason I don't is because, hey, I don't own a webcam, and I know you could use this camera that I'm using right now to film this, but there's bigger problems here we got with this. First off, I need a full setup, because my area is not exactly set up to record games. It looks bland. It looks very bland. I basically have to make a whole corner of my place just set up for this stuff as such. Therefore, I think what I would need to do is do that setup, and I have to keep, by the way, lights also unchecked there too and everything, so I can quickly just snap everything on and it goes. Because this setup I have here right now took a while to put together, by the way, which is why I don't actually do as many live action segments as I might should or maybe should do at all. But yeah, also if I have to also make time to do this, by the way. So yeah, now if I did do all of that, yeah, I will do that and do it on Twitch, of course, like I said earlier. Now, if you want that in the main series, in the main stuff like cut content series, history video, maybe that comedy series. No, that box is not appearing there. Yeah, I'll have live action segments for history and the other comedy show, but not any boxes in the corner. That doesn't work for documentaries. It doesn't look good. I'd rather just take up the full screen when when it goes back to me to talk or giving intro or whatever like that. So yeah, it'll be limited to only playthroughs if I do that again. So next question, what's your opinion on Pokemon as a whole? We're really going down this hole, aren't we? We're opening up this can of worms. Okay, so Pokemon, I love it. I'm a 90s kid. Obviously, I would love this series. I loved it as much as I did Pokemon, Zelda back then and everything. However, I agree with most people, it's stagnating pretty badly. And it's because the series both hasn't really evolved much. It's still more or less beat the 8 gym leaders, beat the champion, beat evil baddie, the end. The only game that really changed that up was pretty much Black and White and Black and White 2, which is why they're my favorite in the series. They did such a good job of portraying an evil team and mixed it into the whole adventure. Heck, the whole Elite Four was actually around this whole story, in fact. That's how good it was. And Black and White 2 continued the story too, which was a surprise to see a sequel like that. I mean, last time we had a sequel was Pokemon Gold and Silver, and that's also just as amazing as those games. Tied, in my opinion, as the best generation along with Generation 5. Now, yeah, I know, the problem I think some of you might be thinking about is Sword and Shield. And as I've stated my opinion before, it has problems. I don't personally care for the Dex problem as much as I've complained about it before, because it doesn't really affect me too much, as I don't really have too much time nowadays to actually catch them all. I mean, I was actually okay with this number. I actually caught what was available. I think it was, what, 600 Pokemon? Still a lot, but it's not the whole thing. And I agree, the whole thing should be there, because it gives everyone options. If you want to just build a team and not catch everything, you have options to get everything in the game, actually make a full team out of it. Or maybe you just do want to catch everything. Maybe you're a kid or a teenager who has time and you could do that. But it's not there. And they could have done it, because we found stuff in the beta that actually is not in the final game. We found stuff in DLC format that definitely wasn't in the game, meaning some might have been even chopped off. And we know these are the exact same models that they're using from previous games too, meaning they didn't have to be recreated. The only thing that would have to be done is tweaked and such. And that really, I mean, that takes a little bit of time, but not too much. But from what I understand, and I've theorized about this before, Game Freak is strapped for time. And they actually aren't in charge of the time and development of this game as much as you might think. It's actually the Pokemon Company that is. The Pokemon Company is separate from Game Freak, by the way. It's a company owned 1/3 by Nintendo, 1/3 by Game Freak, 1/3 by Creatures Inc., sorry. And yeah, that company acts independently and decides the marketing for Pokemon, which means if they decide when an anime is going to come out, when a game's coming out, and card game, all three, by the way, and actually many other mediums as well, have to all line up together. They all have to line up together, meaning if the anime is going to come out in 2 years, the game better be ready in 2 years. Meaning Pokemon Sword and Shield's development was clearly short on time, and it's pretty obvious with some of the things that you find throughout the game. A YouTuber I really like, known as Radical Soda, did a 4-hour video, and I actually watched it all too on this, and it shows how badly the game actually has problems with because of the short development time. Because 2 years is horrible for a 3D JRPG. You at least need 3 minimum, and 5 if you want to make a really, really stellar one, in my opinion. So yeah, the fact that this is what we have and the game is pretty much stagnating and being pretty much not changed since Generation 1 in terms of formula and how it plays, yeah, it's pretty much the problem. They just really don't have as much time as they should. I think people should really be throwing more of their anger towards the Pokemon Company, not Game Freak so much. And that's where the real problem lies. And I'm not saying give them hate mail. I'm not telling them to harass them. Just say give them constructive criticism towards the Pokemon Company if you want things done better. Maybe this is why we're getting Arceus. Arceus is actually different. It's actually the Pokemon Company letting Game Freak focus on the game while they actually outsourced the Diamond Pro remakes. Dear God, those are butchered. But yeah, that's the problem, really. The Pokemon Company there, and therefore, I'm hoping Arceus actually might be the type of game we've been really looking for a long time, and being a true step in the right direction. But yeah, that's my opinion of Pokemon. I like the series. I still like it too. It just has problems, and it needs to address them ASAP. Yeah, this one's from Light Spirit Knight. I love your hard work and dedication for this leaks and cut content, by the way. Do you have theories on what could have happened to the original 200 plus Pokemon, like Mr. Mime's pre-evolution, which was later made into Mime Jr.? So yeah, I'm guessing this probably is talking about my most recent video on the Pokemon, the cut Pokemon of Gold and Silver, which, I mean, some were obviously reworked into newer games, as we saw, like Leafeon. Some are gone altogether. Like, yeah, and yeah, like that, like those cat Pokemon, like Rin is completely gone. And realistically, some just completely redone it, like Madame became Surfetched. So while the concept stayed, the Pokemon looked completely different. And that's pretty much what kind of happened with a lot of them, but that one was the biggest one. Yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. They could realistically make a whole Pokemon game with just cut Pokemon, but I guess not really interested in doing that. So yeah, that answers every question that was sent to me here. I know it wasn't too many questions. You'd think after getting near 20K I'd be flooded with them, but I'm not. Hell, my Twitter page is dead still. I mean, I post there, but not many people subscribe. Subscribe to my Twitter, by the way, people. We could meme there. You could talk to me directly sometimes there too. And yeah, I mean, definitely, seriously, go on my Twitter. Like, it's right here. Go there, like it. We could chill there. But otherwise, I have a video planned for tomorrow to come out on the history of Nintendo PlayStation, as I've stated. So everyone, please watch it. I hope you enjoy it. And everyone, thank you for watching.